it seems like a lot of times in the spiritual community or the metaphysical community that if you buy into one concept, like say astrology, then you must believe in something else like tarot, or you must believe in all of these different ideas that come up, or, you know, you kind of seem like an outsider. And that's fine. It is what it is. I don't really think that you have to believe in each of these things, or you can at least have a different perspective on how they work. I kind of blend in a little bit of science with my beliefs in the metaphysical. So I believe in most of this metaphysical stuff, just maybe in a different way. And the reason I bring that up is because I have mixed feelings about the idea of channels. Like examples would be Bashar or Abraham. And I love watching them. I appreciate them for their great wisdom. And I think they're incredibly intelligent. And I've gotten so much information from them. I absolutely love them. But I can't fully buy into the idea that they're getting their wisdom from an external or different entity. And this is actually a compliment to them. So the way I see it, to say that an external entity is required, it diminishes their personal power, their personal empowerment, their abilities, what they can do, what they personally are capable of. So to say that somebody else is doing it seems to me putting the power into the hands of that other entity rather than them, I guess you could say, admitting to the power that they have within themselves. So I do think that there is a good reason why people don't want to, I guess you could say, admit that they're capable of such intelligence and speed of delivering their wisdom or answering questions for people. I think it's a really good reason why they wouldn't want to. I think it actually has to do with fear a lot. We can't regenerate our limbs. So, you know, if your arm is removed, you can't really do anything about that. But we have proven, even through science, that we can heal ourselves. So it seems strange that there's this block there that would say, well, we can show evidence of people curing their cancers or their other problems, but we can't show evidence of people regrowing their limbs. And so that comes down to, I think, two things. Number one is when, you know, it's kind of an energetic thing. So if you have enough people believing one thing, then it's hard to deviate from that because there's so much power in that one direction from so many people believing it that it's hard to make that deviation and do something else, you know, like living without oxygen or something like that. That would be quite a feat because you have a whole planet full of people who believe that you need oxygen. So to not need oxygen would require quite a deviation from that. The other thing is that, and I'm sorry, that would make you look weird in the eyes of society. That would make you look like an anomaly, a freak. And that's something that scares us because we don't want to be ostracized from our tribes. So the other things that it could do is it could bring the witch hunters or the people in lab coats. And those are both things that we probably want to avoid. So exhibiting some kind of, some feature, some ability so far beyond what other people can do actually becomes dangerous. But if you're not the one really doing it, then you kind of can push it off onto something else. So it wasn't me that did it. It was this alien that got into my brain and just used me to talk through, or it was an angel that came and possessed me and provided all of this wisdom to people. And so you're sort of pushing this exceptional level of intelligence or insight onto something else rather than taking on the potential danger of it being yourself who was capable of these unusual feats. So what I think is, just like some people are really tall or some people are good at math, I think we all have access to a higher intelligence or an infinite knowledge at different levels. and they just happen to have a really good connection to that, whatever it may be. So it could be a morphogenic field that they're connecting to, like Rupert Sheldrake talks about, or it could be just some kind of an altered state where they're in some sort of a meditative state, which you will see at the beginning of most I almost said stage performances. That's not quite what I meant, but most of the time when they are presenting their info, they start off by having some kind of a possession experience that looks like an altered state of mind or connection to something. So it could be a connection to this morphogenic field, or it could just be an altered state of mind that is allowing access to more of the brain that is not normally used, that we normally don't access for the same reasons I mentioned before. We don't want to seem like that anomaly. But again, they're in a safe space when they're working with a client, when they're connecting to their outside entity. And so I think that we can think of that for anybody who is in the spiritual community and has a hard time with the idea of other entities existing and wants that personal empowerment, or thinks that we should have our own personal empowerment. I don't think there's really too much of a disconnect. I think you can still honor these people, like I said, like Bashar and Abraham, for the great information that they provide, and we can still find it very respectable and very useful. But you don't necessarily have to believe that it is this super metaphysical thing. I guess that would be metaphysical or ultra spiritual or something. So we can still honor them for their genius, and we can still take that knowledge and make use of it. And they can still be respected and admired, but we don't necessarily have to think that they're respected and admired for their ability to channel, but rather their ability to be intelligent, which I think also helps us, because if I'm sitting here saying, gee, I wish I could be as smart as Abraham or as smart as Bashar, well, maybe I can. Maybe I do have access to that information. Maybe I do have access to those insights, to that intuition, to that genius that they're tapping into. But if I'm sitting here waiting for another entity to bring it to me, as opposed to going and getting it myself, I might be waiting a very long time. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Be sure to hit like and absolutely share this video if you liked it.